backwoods.
Born in the backwoods.
Raised by a bear.
Raised by a bear.
Got cast iron nuts.
Got cast iron nuts.
And 2 coats of hair.
And 2 coats of hair.
Got a stainless steel dick.
Got a stainless steel dick.
Yeah, it's a mean prick.
Yeah, mean prick.
I'm a mean motherfucker.
I'm a mean motherfucker.
Who don't take no shit.
I don't take no shit.
AI to extend the length of a clip.
Oh, really?
Well, it feels like, they're just trying to, like, crack Pandora's box open, AI-generated video, as opposed to, just, like, smashing it open with a sledgehammer.
Yeah,
because
we're definitely not AI.
Yeah,
like talking to the camera.
We're so real,
right?
at least for now.
So I think it already did that for some of my some of the videos I've been editing, where you can like extend the clip, but then it limits you obviously. But
yes, yeah, they say I think it's like 2 seconds. Yeah, that you can.
But it's I mean, dude, the not knowing I've never taken a class or anything like that. My videos have been coming in how I want them.
Hell yeah.
Little things here and there, I'm like, man, I wish I could fix that, or I wish I could change that. I wish I knew how to do those things. But most of the stuff, like the spinning icon or the little emblem in the corner, it's perfect for what I'm wanting to do. And there's like short 2-minute video clips that give you a whole tutorial. It'll show you how to do a bunch of crazy stuff, and it's perfect.
It's usually like a nice, friendly Indian dude. Too.
Right.
So I was trying to jailbreak my Switch, and I found a 2-minute video on YouTube on how to do it, and it was an Indian guy who was like, "You normally need the jigs for this to be able to short the 2 pins, but I will show you today how to do it with this much tin foil." And sure enough, he's like, "You just fold it right here, slide it down, and boom."
Oh,
and
dude.
And it worked.
India is ahead of us as far as, like, I mean, I feel like they've scammed so many Americans. Not India as a whole, but like a large portion of India has scammed so many Americans and gotten so good with scamming that they're like a notch above us on a lot of technology stuff.
Yeah, they're like, we're smarter than
they're
people.
technology-wise, dude, they're killing it.
Yeah.
They've put so many old people in the red, bankruptcy.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean I wasn't supposed to send $40,000 of my savings?
Bro, I saw that video, that lady at the Bitcoin ATM in a convenience store, and she is just shoving.
Is it the police department video?
Yes. And that
that was the most depressing body cam footage I've ever seen, and I've seen a bunch.
Yeah. Yeah, just seeing that, like, you could hear it in the cop's voice, that his heart broke for this lady.
The sigh of, oh, man.
Yep.
No, Gam, what are you doing?
and she's still just over there doing that.
Right.
But Bitcoin, all-time high. Bitcoin be popping.
I wish I had gotten into it with my buddy back in 2014. My buddy, a little bit after that, one of my buddies that I went to diving school with, he's like, man, he was 19. He knew a lot about some stuff, but I mean, he's 19 years old.
Right.
And I had already spent almost 8 years in the military listening to 19-year-olds that think I thought I knew what I was talking about a lot of shit. So
sure.
It went in one ear and out the other, and I was broke to begin with after getting out. So I'm not gonna let me fork up $1,000 on something that might not be real. And I wish I was in the place I am now.
Sure.
Because I would have bought like $2-3 grand of it and been like, babe, trust me.
Been a billionaire.
Seriously, man. Like, pull it out, 50 million in, like.
Oh my God.
Even then, you'd be like, damn, I wish I had kept it in there. But like me, I'm growing up broke as hell, when I was a kid. So 100,000 would have been $1 million to me.
Sure.
So I definitely kick myself in the ass when it comes to that though, because it's like, dude,
Well, what's that saying? The best time to plant a tree for shade is 10 years ago. The second best time is now.
Yeah, right.
Now,
because you're gonna put it off again.
Well, right, and
that's a good saying.
Well, at this point, with it being, I think it's like 82,000, and its previous all-time high was, 82,000. Previous was 80,000. I don't know that I would advise people to buy at the all-time high.
Yeah.
The nice nice thing about crypto is that it will always come back down and give you
don't worry, it's coming down.
Yeah.
Like,
you'll always have the opportunity, at least until it hits, like critical mass.
Yeah.
John McAfee, before he mysteriously died, he said Bitcoin 4 million per Bitcoin, like at the end of his calculations.
Which one's John McAfee? Is that the one that did the GameStop stuff, or?
He might have been dead by that point. John McAfee created McAfee Virus Scan and became a billionaire from that. It's come out since his death that he may have actually made the viruses that he then made the software to fix. But
is that the dude that bought a bunch of laptops and gave it to government officials?
Yes.
I didn't know he was dead.
Yeah. Yeah. He.
Wait, hold on. Before we continue.
Yeah.
Welcome to the ODT Veteran Podcast. You're a new but good friend that I have made here recently.
Hell yeah.
And you're a veteran, which makes it even better. So now that's an even easier excuse to hang out with you more.
Hell yes.
No, I'm just kidding. For people watching. But genuinely, I'm so glad you could come on here. I was genuinely excited about this because some of the conversations we've had, that video we did at the Fort Collins studio.
Yeah.
I was super amped to talk with you and chit chat because a lot of the stuff I've heard you say, I'm like in the background, like, go on, continue. There's more, and we're both kind of like on that same wavelength.
Hell yes.
So I love it, and I'm genuinely happy that you're here, man.
Joe, thank you so much for having me on, man. The conversations that we have gotten to have, they've been so gratifying and informative to me.
Thanks,
now
man.
to have a place that we can actually do this for this specific purpose,
right? Dude, fuck yeah,
dope shit.
It's gonna be fun. So continue what you were saying with John McAfee and the viruses.
So he becomes a billionaire after selling McAfee Virus Scan, and he goes off the fucking deep end. Gets into meth, gets into crack cocaine.
Didn't know that.
He actually had a house. A compound, really, in Woodland Park, down by Colorado Springs. So he was a Colorado local for a period of time, a nurse that I worked with.
That's why I thought he was still alive, because I saw a video where he's doing like an interview with some chick. And dude, it's nuts.
He died mysteriously. He was in jail, I want to say like in Spain. And they said that he had a heart attack. And the last thing that he said before he died was, "If I die in jail, I was murdered." So...
I mean, they have control of your food.
Yeah.
They have control of the people that you're around.
Yeah.
They have control of you physically.
Right.
Like, if there was ever a place, I mean, except for Jeffrey Epstein, who definitely didn't kill himself. That's the place to do it.
Yeah.
So, man, who Diddy, dude, they need to protect Diddy. Diddy is a POS, but with the stuff now, I'm just going off of what I've heard on the news and stuff, which is never 100%. But watching old videos now and like really tearing apart each clip, like him checking Justin Bieber for a wire, like the creepiest stuff ever that you notice now, like, oh man, why did he make a video with Justin Bieber when he was 12 talking about how he has power of attorney over him, and everyone's saying that Diddy likes, dominating men, like
children,
little boys, like it's hard to compete with that, logic. So they need to protect him, because I bet he has a lot of information that would put a lot of people in harm's way and also call out a lot of BS.
Yeah, it would be a refreshing change to finally learn some of the names on the Epstein list or the Diddy list. And what those videos had the effect of doing, at least for me, it completely recontextualized everything that you see in the video. Because before you know Diddy's proclivities, him with his arm around Justin Bieber, okay.
Before it was okay.
Yeah. And
and then new information.
Well, and just like seeing the look in Justin Bieber's eyes, and Diddy asks him, like, all right, today's your day. What do you want to do? And the first words out of Bieber's mouth are, "Can we find some girls?" So, like, tell me about the
man.
energy. Yeah, tell me about the energy that's existing, in there at that point that they turn a camera on and the first words out of his mouth are like, "Can we not be gay?"
And he's like, he didn't do this, but he's like mouthing in the background.
Yes, right, right. Yep.
Oh man, it's genuinely it's weird because we're all sitting out in the civilian world. Like we could, if I had amazing singing voice and I could make amazing movies, like we could also be at the top echelons of Hollywood. But we're not. We're regular people.
True that.
And we see and hear stuff like this and we're just like, how the hell do people, I mean, how can people sit by and watch a lot of this stuff go on? And then you realize a lot of people are just trying to make money. A lot of people are like, I don't want to lose my job.
Yeah.
Yes, I just watched Diddy do all these horrible things or insert whatever famous person.
Yeah.
And a lot of people will keep quiet for money. And
certainly.
It's nuts. I've been in the security world for a while, and some of the jobs that I've been on, mothers demand action. Down in Colorado, in Denver, Colorado Springs, Castle Rock.
Okay.
We've had a lot of contracts down there, and I didn't really understand what they were all about till the second time I was out there with them. Dude, they want common sense gun control.
Oh boy.
Red flag laws they're all about, and one of the dudes that I met down in Castle Rock was a police chief, I think, and he went to one of these meetings and he's like, yeah, no, I mean, real smart gun control is good for America and it's good for Colorado. And I'm just like, dude, I just listened to what you were saying and what all these other people were saying.
Yeah.
And I can't remember if this guy, the other dude, older black gentleman, really well spoken. I can't remember if he was in a political office or not. I know he was in political office. I just don't know where in Colorado.
Okay.
But he started talking about gun laws and taking away. He doesn't want to take away people's rights to own firearms.
Right on.
And he's like, we're on the right track, and this is our goal. And people think that we just want to take their guns, but that's not what we want to do. And at the end of his 20-minute rant, one of the people that were there, some old lady raises her hand. He's like, anybody have questions? She goes, when can we just take all their guns? And I'm just like, lady.
Well, and of course she doesn't want to be the one to do it. She wants the
she
state
wants other guys that own guns to take the other guys' guns.
Yep. It's ludicrous.
Well, and I'm sitting there like, you guys hired me for your protection. You have an armed man in this room, in this building, specifically for your protection, to protect you from people with guns.
Yes.
And yet you're trying to take bad people with guns who don't follow the law, who don't, it's like, how does that logic click in these people's heads? And you sit there and you listen to these sob stories, which, don't get me wrong, some of them are very sad, and a lot of them are like, oh, my brother, he self-deleted himself, but before he did that, he went and self-deleted his wife who was cheating on him, or insert reason or excuse. And it's like, I get it. You can't save everybody, and you can't, man, it just blows my mind, because it's like 30,000 people a year die tripping and falling and hitting their heads.
Wow.
Should we make everyone wear helmets?
Right.
Like, you're not going to save everybody.
Yeah.
So, like, you really need to understand, and this is 100% a first world problem. Nobody here really understands that if they take our weapons and our firearms, there is no way for us to fight back if there's a tyrannical government. And when you ask some of these people, okay, can you 100% assure me that the government's never going to turn on us and be dictators?
Yes.
Can you assure me that 100%?
Right.
Well, no, that's stupid. Why would you think that?
I mean, hell, even just in the last week, you wouldn't be like...
You ask them now. Oh, he's a dictator. He's blah, blah, blah. It's
Suddenly they're all about guns.
This is the time where the Second Amendment guys come in and go, you know what, guys? I agree. They put a Kamala hat on, and they're like, we need to protect ourselves from these guys. This guy's a dictator.
Yeah. Man, that would be a compelling YouTube channel. Like,
dude,
going undercover as a leftist, trying to get them to adopt conservative viewpoints.
Those are the best videos. The Steven Crowder videos where he goes in. I love it when there's actual discussion between different sides. And that's, I mean, with the video you were on up there, like the goal was to have people on the left, people on the right, both veterans, and a moderator.
Yeah.
And obviously that fell through, unfortunately. Sorry, guys. The goal is to make that happen again for real. Not just about political stuff, but I want to talk about Second Amendment, what it's like to grow up in the military, going in at 18, 17, whatever. You know, I want to get ex-wives' perspectives that were in the military. And if my ex-wife's listening, I'd love for you to come on and give your perspective, because I want people that have had really good experiences in the military as a military wife, and people that had really bad experiences. And I don't know which one she's going to pick. No, I'm just kidding. She knows. But I don't like bringing her up too much on here. I just want to make sure if she's watching that she knows I want everybody's perspective, even if I don't agree with it.
Definitely.
And that's the best example that I can give is like, hey, I want her on here to talk about this
there
stuff.
You go.
So I'm really glad that I'm surrounding myself and meeting the type of people like yourself that are kind of on that same wavelength.
Me too, man.
Like Bob said at the camp, nobody's going to help us. Nobody's going to do any of this stuff. We need to do it ourselves.
Yep.
And we need to help each other. So like it's going to happen. It's a process. And I think as long as we just keep chugging along, it's going to move up there.
Hell yeah.
Go ahead.
In reference to the thing that we recorded a few weeks ago, the round table and everything, I just want to take a moment and apologize to Thad. In watching the video, I realized I called you Tad probably 6 or 7 times. And I'm really sorry about that, Thad. Like, I'll get that right in the future.
Dude, when you said it, I only heard you say it once, and I tried snipping it just a little bit so you wouldn't even hear it.
That's so kind of you,
like,
man.
Dude, I was trying to make sure everybody sounded nice.
Yeah.
Well, because none of you motherfuckers told me that I was like, I had to cut 30 minutes of me just jabbering on.
Really?
Dude.
I didn't feel that. You know,
I think in the moment we didn't feel it. That's because my brain was stuck in debate mode. Because I was ready to, you know, and when you have somebody on the other side not agreeing with you, usually they'll try and cut in and be like, well, actually, you know, but there was none of that because we were just giving our opinions. So there was nothing to stop me from not shutting up. So I'm editing this and I'm like, I sound like an idiot.
No,
but because I kept going on, and that's the stuff I really sounded dumb on, because I just kept going in circles because I didn't know when to stop to like go to. I wanted to make sure we had a lot to edit from.
Sure, I hear that.
So it ended up coming out great, and I think everybody sounded very elegant, well spoken. I think we did well.
You know, if the problem that you have is that you talk too much for the medium that you are in,
I know, right?
That's a good problem.
Right.
You know, better too much that you can cut down than too little that you are, you know, squeezing blood from a stone verbally.
Dude, trying to keep a conversation. I'm pretty good at trying to keep a conversation going because silence makes me feel awkward and uncomfortable because I'm used to a bunch of people around me, soldiers that are just like, we're all talking smack to each other.
Sure.
And, like, the conversations I've had in the military are the craziest, sickest, funniest conversations I've ever had.
You know, I realized as soon as we left the studio from that last recording, I was kicking myself for not asking Thad. So he was talking about Generation Kill. It's that HBO series based on his unit. And I kind of wonder, like, was he cast in there? You know, like, is there somebody playing
Thad? I can't wait to have him on here, man.
Yeah, and what really I was kicking myself for not asking when we left was J-Lo really as big of a fucking deal as they presented it in the show?
Did she came over, right?
I don't believe so.
The USO?
They were just so smitten with her. You know, so March 2003, Bennifer is a thing. Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez. They make that movie Gigli like the next year, which is still maybe regarded as like the worst movie ever.
Not compared to her newer one.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
Dude.
I didn't know she did another one.
It was painful.
Really?
We were excited to watch it because it's like, oh, it's J-Lo. Like,
yeah.
When I think J-Lo, I think Enough.
Oh, okay.
That's like, and I grew up with a single mother, so that was like the go-to movie. Your father. Like,
oh, jeez.
Yeah. So it's Enough is one of my mom's favorite movies.
Oh, yeah? So my mom, her favorite Jennifer Lopez movie is Selena. Because
I've never watched it.
Yeah, it's pretty niche. Selena was a Mexican singer who kind of like crossed over from the Mexican world into mainstream American world.
Dude, she was big.
And my mom fucking loved her. Still loves her. Still holds like hatred in her heart for that lady who murdered her.
I didn't know she was murdered.
Yes, yeah. Selena was murdered by
a fan, right?
By her manager. And so this manager is also getting out on parole soon. So this manager is still alive, about to get out of jail.
There's going to be some like 50, 40-year-old mom.
Right,
like,
right.
You fucking
yeah, you killed the Mexican Madonna.
How could you? Yeah. Now we're stuck with the real Madonna. Which, by the way, Madonna's music's chef's kiss, but like, damn, man. Like, it's weird seeing people that you grew up watching from the 90s, early 2000s, and in even the 80s that were just beautiful, amazing, yada, yada, made stupid money. Now they're worth millions and have pumped themselves full of just crap. And now we're seeing the what happens when you do that over decades. And it's like, a lot of these, I don't think a lot of people, not just Hollywood celebrities, but a lot of people in general in America need real friends to be like, yo, you should have stopped a couple surgeries ago.
Right.
We can stop now, though. So,
please, God, stop.
Madonna's manager is crying.
I mean, she's unrecognizable. There are so many faces out there that
she looks like the Muppet from the one with the shut eyes that talks like this, man, from Sesame. I think Sesame. No. The one with Kermit the Frog. The band.
Oh, okay.
You know which one I'm talking about? The chick with dreads and her eyes are shut.
Yes.
Yeah. Muppets. God.
Yeah.
Sorry. God.
I mean, bless up the Muppets. An American institution. They need to have their time in the sun again. I know it'll come back around for them.
They'll try and bring it back, but they'll ruin it.
So, this election last week, maybe the greatest political comeback in world history.
High five.
Only the second president to, have non-consecutive terms.
Is not Jimmy Carter. It's Garfield, right? Is the only other president that lost the next election, and then won the election.
I got to look that up. I thought it was Cleveland, but
no, Cleveland. You're right.
You're wrong.
Yeah, it was in 1888 or something, or
something like that. And so it's since essentially Civil War times. Something like this has not happened, and now the man is back with. He can spend all his political capital. He has nothing to hold back this time.
He doesn't have to worry about re-election.
Yeah.
At all. Well, he just needs to do what he said he's going to do.
True.
And I think that's going to make such a difference.
Yeah.
And it's going to show people that, hey, you don't have to just say that you're going to do all this stuff, which is what politicians have been doing forever.
Yeah.
And they'll do stuff here and there so that they can go, see, I did it.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, but in no way did this make my life better.
Yeah.
And then you got all these people that he has on his team. RFK just came out with a video where I hate his voice. I love the man, but I hate the man's voice.
I just want to give him a glass of water and be like, just drink the whole thing.
It drives me nuts, but I think they fixed it. I think they'd used AI or something.
Oh, really?
On the commercial.
Ah.
Dogs eat it. And it's all scratchy, but it still comes in kind of clear now. But he talks about everything that we have been bringing up, that Alex Jones have been bringing up, with atrazine in the water, with chemicals in the water, phthalates that leach into your food and off of these plastics after they get heated up, and think of water bottles. think of when I was in Afghanistan, it would get so damn hot, and you'd have these little sheds that like they were just covered up top, so nothing crazy would get on them.
Okay.
Full of boxes and things of water bottles that are sitting in the heat. How many leaching into the water?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and it's, again, first world problems, like, oh no, the phthalates, they're going to get me. But like, it genuinely matters over time.
Definitely.
With generations and with the whole United States and the world in general, like, how it's going to affect you over time. The chick that Joe Rogan had on his podcast talks ad nauseum about phthalates and how it's leaching into our food, our water, everything, and it is slowly affecting the size of children's genitals, the measurement between their taint and their
took the
their
words
butthole,
from my brain, man. I was gonna say, you know, do we have like content guidelines or something that that we can't talk around?
I think just replacing certain words like grape. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Or SA or self-deletion.
Okay.
Stuff that in your mind you're thinking is like, okay, we might not be able to say that. Either way, when I edit this, I'll be able to clip out whatever I think might cut out community guidelines. But knock on wood, I haven't had a video taken out yet.
There you go.
But that TikTok video I was talking about, I'm scared to snippet more videos just because I'm like, they're going to like kill the channel. On TikTok, so
I can understand that.
We'll figure something out. But
when you talk about I think it was Rhonda Patrick who was talking about phthalates, and she said, you know, the proof, you know, of the progression, you know, of this, it's actually it's there for everyone to see because you can see it in porn. When you know the dude is up doing whatever and suddenly
we have to say corn.
Okay.
Just move forward. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yes, the blue maize corn. when you see it, you can see, you know, an increasing distance there. And
that's what I'm looking at when I watch.
Well, I mean, it's just, and she pointed this out, and I found that funny, you know, because normally, like, how else are you going to tell? Like, the distance between the taint and the asshole is starting to grow.
The numbers going by your head.
I want to know that, doctor.
Yeah. Right.
But in terms of like crazy and exciting shit, you know, that's happened even just in the last week, you know, within 48 hours, you know, of him becoming president-elect, like I said on our last thing, the world is already reordering itself towards order. And so it felt like, you know, he threw us, you know, like a little piece of candy or something when on the 2-day point he says, oh yeah, national concealed carry reciprocity. And I was like, oh my God, I've forgotten what this feels like. You know,
do you know how much crime that's going to stop?
I mean, a
lot of stupid stuff's going to happen, but if anything, it's preventative maintenance.
Yes.
It's people that are breaking the law, doing things that they're not supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
They're going to think twice.
True that.
And if they don't, they're going to learn really quick. It's going to be a life learning lesson or an end of life learning lesson. And I think that is great for America. I think that's great for so many other states because it's kept me, it's great for business as well because it's kept me out of a lot of states like California. Yeah. Specifically because of that. I would hate to go somewhere like California with my wife and kids and somebody try and attack me or my children and then I defend myself with the mentality of I'd rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6.
True that.
That's been my mentality ever since I got out of the military.
Hell yeah.
Like, dude, I don't care if I go think of the dude, who's that guy who got revenge on the karate instructor.
Gary Plausch.
Dude, that man's a hero among men.
Yep.
I can never understand why people don't, like, I would have thought that they would have boxed or put a giant bulletproof glass around every single courtroom because of men like me that have that mentality of like, you did what to my family or my friends? Like, acquaintance, I might like be really mean and yell at somebody, whatever. If
Yeah.
you're a good friend,
Yeah.
I'm going to beat the living HE double hockey sticks out of somebody that does something like that to
Yeah.
a friend.
True that.
Family, like, dude, I'm going to watch life escape your body.
God damn.
Like, I told Holly I'm gonna have her grease me up so that all the cops that are trying to get me off of whoever it is are like everything except my hands. Like,
wow.
Why is he lathered in baby oil?
And just for the viewers out there, if you don't know Joe personally, he's fucking huge. The guy's built like an NFL linebacker.
Dude, that video you took.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago, we're up helping Marshall with the Combat Recovery Foundation, and I'm filming them dropping trees. And Joe has a chainsaw in his hand. And this was a very problematic tree. It kept sticking. You know, he dropped it like 2 times, but big tree. And so it just kept dropping in place. And so he goes in for the last cut, and I'm, you know, maybe this far behind him. And
less than 10 feet.
Yeah. And suddenly it goes, and it's going back towards us. And so Joe, you are in the money shot, you know, of this documentary. And just watching the video again, maybe we'll make that available so you guys can see it.
Oh, dude, I'm gonna wait to put this video out before, so that I can get not just that clip, so that I can put the whole promo video or whatever.
Oh, right on.
At whatever you guys have set up.
Yeah.
That's like a couple minutes long.
Yes.
At the end of this.
Nice.
So that it shows, hey, CRF, like, and in no way is CRF political or anything like that. It's a foundation that we love that helps veterans, and that is the whole goal of that. And in no way is that political or any of the BS that we're talking about right now. This is all just guys shooting the shit, happy that the person that we voted for is in place. And anybody else that wants to come on here, I hold no what's the word I'm looking for? Animosity. Yeah. Towards anybody with a differing opinion. I want differing opinions.
True that.
But I just wanted to clarify that.
Certainly.
CRF, Combat Recovery Foundation, is amazing, and I love what they're doing. And I'm genuinely excited.
Yeah. I would actually call that one of their strengths, is that they're an apolitical organization. Oh, yeah. And the people who come there know that implicitly. And it almost feels like it's something you can just tell from the vibe up there, that there is so much good. There's so much purpose.
Everyone wants to help
defined.
each other.
Yes. And in that ultra supportive environment. And when I say ultra supportive, I don't mean in like a toxic positivity sort of way. Because in the world in which we live nowadays, you know, the left has created this thing where everything is all good all the time, even in the face of like glaring at, you know, the emperor has no clothes level stuff.
What about this over here? Don't look at that.
Yeah. And so it was refreshing, encouraging, and rewarding to go up there with the CRF and be like, everyone is here just to make everyone else feel good. And that's so rare.
And let them know that they're important to everybody that's there.
Yes.
Nobody wants to see anybody self-delete or anything like that. Like the whole point of it is to help each other. Because again, we're the only ones there. Just so you know, Bob, I'm stealing that forever. Nobody's going to help us. Yeah. We need to do it ourselves.
True that.
And we need to help each other and make sure that we make the things known to other veterans as far as benefits, foundations, stuff like that. No matter what, there's no gatekeeping.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I hate is when people like, oh, I got this really good thing over here. Go somewhere else. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like there should be none of that, especially in this atmosphere. Like
certainly
we're losing too many of our own people.
True that.
And again, it's a very small percentage of Americans are veterans.
Yeah.
Like,
you know, and I'll tell you up there, for the Combat Recovery Foundation and this project that they're doing on their land, some of the most interesting, you know, people that I'm excited to see that show up there, they're not even veterans. And so that tells me that we're getting at a deeper truth here. We're getting at something that matters to men, not just, you know, men who served in the military. And at the end of the second day, I was kind of looking around, and I had like this, this clue bird go off, and I was like, "Is this the cure for male loneliness?"
Yeah, right.
I think unironically, yes, it is.
I don't think a lot of people know, and a lot more podcasts like the pro guy podcasts that talk about the self-deletion rate and among men and the stuff that men deal with on a daily basis. They talk about it a lot, but it's still something that is unknown to a lot of people and not taken advantage of, but downplayed.
Yes.
It's one, this is America, first world problems. We're always going to find something to bitch and moan about, gripe about. So, but I mean, at the end of the day, like, we would not have what we have in America if it wasn't for the men and women that have died for this country.
True that
have sacrificed so much, whether it's mental state, emotional state, physical state.
Yeah.
Like, people don't recognize that as much. And today, Veterans Day, hopefully we can shed more light on that, and along with conspiracy theories and conspiracy truths.
Yep.
Because a lot of conspiracies are conspiracies until it turns out to be true.
They're just reality.
Yeah, right. I'm gonna build like a little Alex Jones shrine off to the side.
I heard he's gonna do it. I heard he accepted, and so they've talked about.
Are you sure that's true though?
So he committed.
Tell the people.
Yeah, he committed for a month. So to me, that says like he's got a lot going on.
Committed to what though?
Committed to being White House press secretary.
Do you really think it's gonna happen? Because I read through the comments and stuff. And it, like, I was super excited when you told me. I was like, hell yeah. And then like I started reading comments, and I'm like, oh man, I think people are like messing with us. Like,
no, it was posted from his Twitter account. He formally accepted. He was talking about it on his show a couple days after, and I was
okay.
I tuned in because I was
that makes me feel a little bit better.
There's got to be more about this, and he said yes, that he would do it for a month, and so it's good that it's starting in the new year because he's pretty busy right now. I think the auction for InfoWars is Wednesday. Also, speaking of conspiracies, Wednesday the next UAP hearing. And people have been theorizing, because this one's after the election, that maybe some disclosure, maybe some, actual like copping to facts.
Do you think it will be more in what everyday Americans think, conspiracy-wise, physical aliens with ships and like they're from another planet, another galaxy star system, or do you think it will be more of not kaiju, but like
interdimensional
human human animal hybrid aliens that are considered aliens, and I know it sounds very crazy with what I'm saying, but those are actual real things. Places like China are making human pig hybrids.
Yeah, chimeras.
Chimeras. Okay, so I was saying the right word then. That they're growing inside of cow wombs.
Wow.
And like they've done it with mice, human hybrids. Like it's crazy the stuff that they are making, and they're able to do it because it's that fine line of what's allowed and what's not allowed.
Well, I mean, there's just no medical ethics in China. It's that simple. In China, if you have a kidney go bad, you can just go buy a kidney and they will pull someone, from a concentration camp or, someone who's on
a re-education camp.
Yes.
What are the Uyghur Muslims?
Yeah. And what was so shocking to me was I actually worked with an anesthesiologist in 2014 who did those cases. He was a Chinese national who came here and was on the West Coast. And, we're in surgery. And the topic comes up, of Chinese Communist Party sponsored organ harvesting. And he immediately pipes up and he goes, I don't see anything wrong with that. And you could have heard a pin drop in the room because every other person in the room is a U.S. veteran. And he goes,
wow.
If that's a paying customer, who am I to say, where it comes from? And it was shocking. It's still shocking to me, to see a person, an anesthesiologists. That is a certain level of society, a certain rung on the social ladder.
Oh, yeah.
And
educated, works hard. Like, you have to do a certain amount of work to become an anesthesiologist.
Yeah.
Or a nurse anesthetist.
The anesthesia provider in an operating room, they're typically the smartest person in the room, smarter than the surgeon performing the actual surgery, which is pretty mind-blowing to me. And then to realize, that this person, this paragon of intelligence in that room, has no problem with harvesting organs from people. It was hard for me to not look at that as representative, of a deeper belief held by a larger group of people.
Did he clarify in the sense that these are people that want to sell these organs?
Nope.
To
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Nope.
So it was just
you need an organ,
okay.
and guess what? Here's this person here, and they want to donate.
Where did this? Yeah, they want to donate.
Right.
God, I'm genuinely surprised at some of the stuff that goes around in the world that you hear somebody say, and then you hear like a scoff or a laugh or something, and they're like, whatever.
Yeah.
And you're like, no. Like you're bitching and whining about slavery and all that happened 200 or not 200 something years ago, but not that long ago, prior to Lincoln, which was 1860s or something.
Yeah, 1865 was the end of the Civil War.
You know what I mean? Like that. Prior to that, slavery was not that long ago. It was under 200 years ago. That being said, it is still happening today in the world.
In larger numbers.
And even in America with, I don't even know how to...
Trafficking?
Yeah, there you go. SA trafficking.
Sure.
You guys know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
People being put into basically slavery.
Human trafficking. Let's
Yes.
just call it that.
Yes. It's nuts because the same people that will make fun of conspiracy theories or stuff like that, they'll bitch and whine about other stuff that happened in the past, which still important, still has ripple effects.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it doesn't, but my main point is there's still stuff going on today. So are we going to stop it? Because you care so much about all these other things that have happened.
Yeah.
That people have gone out of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people in America have died. Yep. Whether or not they were for stopping slavery or for any of those other things. Yeah. Hundreds of thousands of people died to keep that from continuing.
Yeah. It was the bloodiest war.
So it's like, are we just going to complain about it and not do anything about the stuff that's happening right now?
Right.
You know, in 2024,
it reveals the true intention beneath it.
Manipulation of the argument.
Yep.
It's a tactic
to
use to shut you up.
Yep. Yeah, it reveals that they're not actually interested in solving any of these problems. They are merely interested in raising the problem and using an inability to solve it as the cudgel to bring in their political ideology.
To shut you up.
Yes. Yeah,
you might have had a point there, but you're white, so you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, man, it's so troubling.
Yeah.
So looking at like the people who Trump is bringing on for this next one, for myself, I will say my great concern in all of this, from 2016 to 2020, the man takes office, but he doesn't know who to name to these roles. And so it becomes, the people in his corner, quote unquote, who are making these suggestions. And it is just a revolving door of backstabbery. And so for myself at least, I choose to believe that these 4 years have not been spent in vain. He's been figuring out okay, I need to actually know who my base is and actually get people who will progress the Republican platform. One that I saw that really excited me. So RFK for the FDA, right? And CDC. Ron Paul for the IRS.
He's bringing on Ron Paul.
And Ron had a quote. He said, and by the way, when I say cut taxes, I don't mean fiddle with the code. I mean abolish the income tax, the IRS, and replace them with nothing. Oh my God.
That's beautiful.
It's catnip.
Have you heard people's arguments well, you can't pay with everything with tariffs. Do you know what's going to happen when you do that?
Oh yeah, people saying your PlayStation 5 is going to cost $1,500. Spoilers for real life. You don't put a tariff on a thing that you don't make. We don't make PlayStations in this country, so there is no tariff applied to it. So,
and they already have tariffs put on America.
Oh yeah.
All these other countries that we're talking about placing higher tariffs on, they already have tariffs on us.
Yes.
And it doesn't make sense why we don't. I mean, it makes sense in the sense that a lot of these countries or the people that are keeping these tariffs from being placed on them as well.
Yeah.
Or the people that are keeping that from happening are getting backdoor deals.
Yes, absolutely. And
you can't be a senator or a politician in D.C. and be worth millions of dollars. Nancy Pelosi makes $170,000, I'm pretty sure, a year. That's her salary. Yet she's worth 20-something million.
Probably more.
Yeah, it's probably more than that. But it's like how this. I love the team that he's putting together because it's like he found all the people that tried coming into office and politics. Yes. And like once they got there, they're like, wait, this isn't how any of this works. This is just political BS with extra steps. Yes. It's like he found all those people that got ostracized from their own party, from their own like groups of people that they were trying to fix their areas. And he's like, I want you, Tulsi, RFK. Like, I love Tulsi. I think Tulsi's going to kill it. I think RFK is going to kill it. Vivek, all these people that just come off as they genuinely want to make a difference and have just been kneecapped. Yes. Now it's like game on. Now we'll have control of the House and the Senate as well, right?
Yeah. You know, I'll tell you. So this election, I think they knew that they couldn't screw with it the way they did in 2020, and
too big to fail.
Yeah, still wondering those 15 million votes, where'd they go, Joe?
Oh, you mean? What are you talking about? Joe Biden's the most popular president to ever become president ever.
Yeah, the most votes ever, and there definitely weren't 20 million extra votes in 2020.
This is what happened when election night. Kamala comes running into the White House and into the Oval Office. Biden, I need those 15 million votes. He's like, no. Those are Daddy Joe's votes. You ain't getting shit.
That's actually a decent Joe Biden impression.
But he's like just straight face, talks normal, like normal people, not a dementia-ridden old man. Right. Which I don't blame Joe Biden for being how he is now. He's old. Some people at younger ages or older ages deteriorate when you're going 24/7. Like that shit catches up with you when you're old. So true like that. I blame the people that are allowing that to continue. You wouldn't let I was just talking about this to somebody. You wouldn't let a cop be a cop that talks the way Joe Biden talks. That holds a conversation the way Joe Biden holds a conversation today. I'm not talking about 5 years, not even 5 years ago. I'd say 8 years ago, he was a little bit more on his game. Yeah. But then the deterioration just.
Well, he's had 2 strokes since then too,
and a brain surgery, right?
Yeah. 2. So each of those strokes had a brain surgery. So he's had 2 brain surgeries. If you
wouldn't give that guy, I do not see him being able to pass and become post certified. Yeah. And pass through police academy. Even if it's just a mental aspect of it, not physical, because I don't think Trump would be able to pass the physical stuff. But sure, you know what I'm saying? Like, you wouldn't give him a gun. Yeah. Why are we letting him run the country? Right. Oh, well, he has people around him that could. It's like, so then it doesn't matter who's president. The people around him are the ones running stuff. Yeah. Well, no, you're twisting my words. It's like, genuinely sit back and think about that. Like, how does this make sense?
It's not a twisting of their words. It is their own established platform. Justice Democrats, who created AOC, they took her from Sandy the bartender and turned her into Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez, firebrand of the left.
What does Alex Stein call him? His Latina mommy or something? His big booty Latina mommy.
Oh my gosh. And Justice Democrats, they have casting calls. They cast the person who will be the face of their platform. So you're right. We see it as implicit that, these people, it's not about the individual, it's about, advancing their agenda. But they just come out and say it. And that's what Justice Democrats did. As far as like mentally unfit men remaining in their posts well past the point that they should, you have to look at the women in their lives. Dr. cannot roll my eyes at that hard enough. Jill Biden is the reason that this is still going on, because she's like, oh, this is my time. And she's not even the only example of it. We have 2 stroke victims, elected to public office.
Yep.
In John Fetterman and his wife, the exact same thing. She doesn't want to let it go.
I never heard that much about her.
Oh, yeah.
But I knew. So my mom lives out in Pennsylvania. And I had brought that up with them when his election time was coming up, and they're like, Doctor, not to pick on my mom. I'll use somebody else, but like I've heard people say, I don't want to vote for Dr. Oz. He was on a TV show. He was this. He doesn't even live.
No, she'd rather vote for the person who opened a presidential debate by saying, "Good evening, everybody. Goodbye."
Dude,
that's worthy of the vote.
Did you watch the Joe Rogan podcast to him?
Yeah, I watched about half of it.
It was so painful because, and like, again, I'm not mad at him. I'm mad at the people. You need real friends to be like, bro, like. You're gone. You're not even hearing you have to have a pad. Do you know? Hold on.
Yeah, it's to read closed captioning.
It's like, dude.
Yeah, and
you need to be able to hold a conversation.
Right, and it makes you ask. Who is programming the captions? Is he even thinking of these words, or are they just giving him a script? Up there, it's a slightly more socially acceptable teleprompter for a person who should not be in a role where he requires one.
Now he has an excuse to look at it.
Yes.
Hold on, I have to read my.
Yep. But as far as blaming John Fetterman, obviously, no, I don't blame him for the strokes that befell him. I am interested in what might have caused them.
Was it right after the vaccine?
Could be the thing that we all know that it is, that we can't say what it is, but it's definitely not that. No, I guess my beef with him, if I had to have it, is that he just looks like a fucking slob. He shows up in the people's house dressed in basketball shorts and a hoodie.
And a hoodie.
And
yeah,
I'm
Carhartt.
sorry.
They were trying to make that like a big thing around them.
I'm sorry. No, you are not representing the blue collar of America in that way. You are disrespecting an elected office.
And I can kind of understand where because he tries making a point about that on the podcast, and like I'm like, okay, I can kind of see where you're coming from, but even then it's like, dude, be that blue collar guy while acting professional and looking professional when you're in a meeting or on TV.
I'm going to suggest something really crazy here and totally unthinkable. Maybe if you're going to present yourself as the representative of the blue collar, maybe your platform should help the blue collar. Maybe the agenda that you are propagating should benefit the blue collar. I mean, wearing a hoodie and basketball shorts is not advancing the cause of the blue collar worker. It is just denigrating the office to which you were elected.
Yeah, that it genuinely surprised me that he ended up getting elected just because it was right after, like the election was right after he had his stroke.
The world's worst debate performance.
It's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, stop. This is cringy as hell.
Yes. Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
I think for me, when I'm thinking of politics and I'm thinking of politicians and judges and stuff like that, you need to be able to have a better debate and put up a better fight than I can.
Yeah.
I should not be a better debater or speaker than the person that I'm voting for that's supposed to be able to eloquently put out a message that, hits home with me and tells me this person is doing their best to make sure that I'm heard and the issues that I'm telling them I'm having as an American are going to be taken care of. And it's like, all these people are just sitting off to the side and letting stuff happen because it's like, I got to worry about I'm getting elected next year. I got to worry about, all these other things that don't matter to regular people. They just I want more money in my pocket. I want to be able to afford groceries without having to be on food stamps.
Right.
It's stuff like that makes such a difference that isn't being done. And the American people, like, we're seeing it, and we've set our piece in the voting ballots.
True that, man.
So
yep.
We'll see how it goes, but I'm so excited to see how this goes.
Hell yeah.
With the new mandates that he's going to be putting out.
He's got a strong one.
What was that one dude that's going to be the border czar?
Yeah.
You sent me a video on that. Was
Tom Homan.
Yes. He is the best video I've ever heard of him was the one that you sent me.
Yeah.
And that's what right before you sent that to me, I was just telling the wife about it.
Yeah.
And she's like, who is that? And I'm like, that's a dude who got in a short little debate with AOC. And she's like, did you know that the policies you're putting forward separate children from their parents?
Right.
Down at the border. And he's like, when you get a DUI and get pulled over, do you get separated from your children if your children are in the car? If you commit murder or deletion of a person, and you're with your children, does CPS not take those kids?
Right.
Do you not get separated if you break the law? Okay. Everyone that has come here. Now, a big argument for a lot of people on the left is, well, it doesn't count because it's not illegal. They're claiming asylum, and it's like all you did was switch the label.
Yeah.
The new bill that you were talking about that Trump shot down. Yeah, he shot it down because it would allow tens of thousands of people.
100,000 per day.
Per day?
Per day.
Wow.
And furthermore, it would give amnesty to the 35 million, that are here, which
that we know of.
You're right. Yeah. I mean, it could be as high as 50.
I'm wondering how that's going to go with deporting people that have come here.
67% of the country wants it. Over 2/3 of the country wants mass deportation.
I remember when Trump was president back in 2016 timeframe, the videos that would come out where Homeland Security or Border Patrol were taking people that were here illegally and deporting them.
Nice.
And people would they'd be in a van, I think is one of the videos, and people would be protesting it, standing around the van, not allowing the law enforcement to take them, and crying, and like the whole gambit. Dude, I get it. It's scary that I don't get it because I'm not there and I'm not in your shoes. I understand that. That being said, this should have been in the back of your head. If I went to France or if I went to India or China and I came in illegally, knowing that I'm coming in there illegally, claiming asylum or whatever, after passing multiple other countries to get to that country, it's in the back of my head that if they get a wild hair up their butt, they're going to deport me.
Maybe I'll have to go back.
You know what I mean? It's like how people are surprised by this blows my mind. And it's a lot of people that completely ignore the fact that they've broken the law to come here.
Yeah.
Not going through a port of entry.
Yep.
Because when you go through a port of entry, you have to wait.
Yeah.
Even if you're claiming asylum, unless it's validated quickly. And then, it's just the arguments that I hear on the other side of that are asinine.
Yeah. And what I love most about it is leftists hold up the rest of the world as an example, and I'm like, dude, these European countries that you love, or the UK, and its various satellite commonwealths, they have incredibly strict, like, look at Australia's, deportation stuff. They will let your boat sink, and they will let you. That. Oh yeah, they don't give a fuck in Australia.
Poland
dude,
is my And you've heard the guy that's running Poland right now that's like, I think Trump, when he gets back in, he's probably going to do what we do. And like, they finally passed laws making it to where Poland at the border can shoot.
Wow.
And let me double check. You got access on there? You want to double check?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Poland passed something making it to where they can engage with people trying to come across the border illegally. It's like, oh my God, that's horrible. You shouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah, July 26th this year, Polish MPs allow security forces to use arms with impunity.
You know what I mean? Like it's like, yeah, this is, if someone was breaking into the house, I should be allowed to
stop them.
Yeah. Hey, don't come into my house. I'm going to come into your house. Don't do it. I'm going to, this is what I'm going to do. And if you do it, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
How are we not doing that at the border? We should have Starship Trooper style turrets.
Like, 4chan could secure the border tomorrow. Like you're gonna tell me if they put up, I can't think of the
like
the
gamer style turrets.
Well, yeah, I'm thinking those blimps that they would do, on fobs where they have the camera just mounted to the balloon. You just have one of those, every 3/4 of a mile all the way down the border. 4chan would staff that 24/7, 365 for free.
Not only that, and you wouldn't even have to do it for free. Or you could do it for free. There'd probably be a bunch of people up for it.
Yeah.
But you could incentivize them for every person you catch that gets caught trying to come over illegally that you catch on a camera and notify. We're going to give you a tax credit. Or, you know what I mean? Like, you don't even have to give people money. Just tell them we're going to take less of your taxes.
I mean, hell, if they were really clever, if they were playing fourth dimensional chess, they could use this as the means to to propagate their centralized bank digital currency. Say like, oh yeah, you watched the border, you caught 5 people. Here's America coin.
Here's a McDonald's certificate.
Well, right, and that would be a way of getting people to accept, this empirically terrible thing. And so if they were really clever, if they really wanted to advance their agenda, there are ways to accomplish that we would eat up.
And it sucks because I have no problem putting myself in somebody's shoes. I do not blame anybody for trying to come here, whether it's legally or illegally. If you're trying to create a better life for your children.
Sure.
I can respect that 100%. That being said, we have to have rules.
Yes.
We could start a program or something like where a lottery, which I'm pretty sure they had programs like that for people that were trying to come over here legally.
Yes.
A lottery system.
Yes.
So it's like it's just like we can only do so much for everybody else before we start hurting ourselves. Like
we already take in 1 million legal immigrants per year. Some years it's 2 million. So nearly 1% of the country can enter in a calendar year. The whole system breaks down. When these safeguards, these rules,
standards, when you take away the standards, everything else falls.
Yes.
Same with the military.
True that. Yeah.
Wasn't that on Generation Kill? The grooming standard.
Yes. Yep. Your mustache hairs is unsightly. I heard Godfather himself say you look like a bum.
That's such a good show.
Did you see that guy went to prison?
The actor or
no? The actual Gunnery Sergeant Sixta.
I did not know that. Why?
Children?
Oh no! My little brother, he was prison guard at Fort Leavenworth.
Oh shit,
dude! Funny enough, he might actually know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
But I'm waiting for him to. We did a podcast episode, but it was at my grandma's out in the hills of the Appalachian Mountains of Virginia. So I want it to be somewhere like this where it's like cleaner, more concise. Because, man, like he's like 70% of the people there are peds.
Wow.
Yeah, he's like,
what the fuck?
And his head is so jacked up from having to listen to these turds.
I bet.
Day in and day out. Oh. And then I did that. And then I did this. You know what I mean? And before he even did before he joined or anything, I had already heard like 20 different stories of like Lieutenant Colonel who did such and such to all 3 of his daughters.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean? And it's like, what's wrong with people?
Yeah.
Like, these are your own kids, man. Like,
right.
Pick some other kids. Or no, I'm just kidding. Don't do that. I'm just joking. But like, it's like this is the worst thing you could ever do to children.
Yeah.
And you're doing it to your own flesh and blood. Like,
true that, man.
Dude. So, but hearing him talk about how like depressing it was listening to these guys talk about this stuff day in and day out is nuts. So that's, I'm going to ask him about that. That's crazy.
That could be a good interview to have on,
dude.
you know, just talking about Leavenworth.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's,
and he's my little brother.
Yeah.
So he's happy Veterans Day, Tyler.
So we were talking about Tom Homan earlier, the new oncoming border czar. There's a quote from him. Tom Homan says, Trump administration will conduct workplace immigration raids. And I'm like, just tell me more, Tom. Just don't stop talking. You know, tell me how good it's going to be.
And you know what the argument's going to be? All these people are trying to do is provide for their family and work. And it's like, honestly, I can agree with that. That being said, go after the people that obviously here illegally or claiming status. Go after the people that have already broken the law.
Yeah.
Go after the people that are felons that are from their own country that they're leaving.
Yeah,
you know, like Venezuela, where they have allowed so many.
They emptied their prisons.
Like, and well, when you ask them about that, when the news articles is like, no, we never did that. But it's like, man, isn't it crazy? The crime rate has dropped by like 70%.
Isn't that interesting?
So it's like, man, I wonder where all that crime went.
Well, right.
Could it be going through that hole in the United States border?
It makes me look back at history. You know, Scarface, the Al Pacino movie.
Yeah.
So it's actually a remake of the film from the 1930s. And they built it around, you know, this Cuban refugee thing that happened in the 80s when Fidel Castro opened his prisons and, this is a quote, flushed his toilets into America. And so looking back at that was tiny compared to what is happening now. And we got Scarface out of it. Yeah. And so it makes me wonder, you know, what stories are happening right now. You know, that.
And it's different when it's just Cuba.
Yeah.
It's different if it's just Venezuela.
When it's the entire southern hemisphere.
Along with over the pond.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's nuts. It's nuts.
Yeah. Well, seeing what they've done with that app, the CBP One app or whatever.
That was originally for shipping and stuff.
Yeah.
Like bringing in goods.
Mm-hmm. Like, there's a documentary in that, you know, figuring out.
Did you watch James O'Keefe's documentary?
No. Did he do
Line
one?
in the Sand? Dude,
tell me.
It's great. It's really good. It shows him going down past the Mexican border, hopping on a train. I want to say he went to South America, took one of the trains coming up, and you can, like I was saying, you can understand and put yourself in the shoes of these people. And he even says that in there. He's like, at this point, it's not even a documentary about illegal immigration. It's showing what these people are going through because they think that the border's just open and they can come in and do whatever because of the people that are placed in power right now in America.
Yes.
Oh, why are you coming up to the U.S.? Because of Biden. Because Biden is pro-immigration, pro us coming over.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, this is what happens when you push that narrative.
Yep.
What do you think was going to happen?
Yeah.
And throughout the documentary, it just shows different aspects of the people busing them around the United States.
Yes.
The people that are working with these churches that are putting people through. He actually goes in pretending to be like a Ukrainian or something.
Okay.
And gets them to sign stamp paperwork saying that his residence is at this church up in New York.
Wow.
And he goes to the church and he's like, and I stay here, I spend night here. And the guy that runs it is like, no, you can't stay here. This isn't, nobody lives here at this church. And he's like, but I have paper.
Yeah.
And he's like, let me see that. And he takes the paper and doesn't give it back.
Oh.
And then he figures out who James O'Keefe is. And he comes out with his camera going, talking smack. Yeah. And James O'Keefe is like, how much money do you make doing this stuff while he's videotaping them? And he's like, millions. And he's like, I don't care. Screw you. Like, it's It really is a good documentary to watch.
Yeah.
Line in the Sand by James O'Keefe.
Right
O'Keefe Media Group, OMG. Amazing investigative journalism.
Oh, yeah.
He gets so many people to do these undercover videos.
Yes.
One of the best ones that I found is when he gets the people that work for Disney.
Oh,
and
really?
These big agencies in Hollywood. He gets these. When you watch, after like you watch 5, you're like, how is he getting these guys to just spill the beans?
Right.
And then you realize he's getting investigative journalist women that are hot. That these guys are just, oh yeah, you know, we don't hire. The girls go in making the guys think that they're on their side.
Yeah.
And they even say, I think some of them, yeah, I'm a journalist. They even tell them that, but I'm a Democrat journalist or I'm a liberal journalist. That I only say this, that, and the other. I'm on your team. And they have like secret cameras in their cups, secret glasses cameras, like the whole gambit. And oh man, these guys just spill the beans because they think they're gonna get some booty at the end. And I'm like, one dude brings his ID showing that he works with the CIA or with like the NSA, and then he begins to tell them all the people that they're like secretly watching and stuff like that. It's or investigating.
Yes.
And it's nuts. One of the Disney people that was like top head guy that helps hire people, stuff like that. He's white. And he's talking about how his upper echelon people told him that he's not going to be able to go up in promotion. She's like, oh, why? And he's like, you know, they're not really promoting white straight guys right now. It's and like he just says it all like it's nonchalant. And you know, he has some people that actually work with Disney that want to blow the whistle on this stuff. They send in videos to James O'Keefe. And he gets these Zoom calls where like this Indian dude with Disney or one of these big companies, I don't know if it was Disney, but one of these big companies, and it's the Zoom call is him talking about not hiring. We don't want to hire any white people. We don't want to hire any straight people.
Wow.
We want to hire people of color and stuff like that. And you'll get bonuses if you hire people of color, and not based on any. And I'm not saying like there's no people of color or people with
so just incentivized discrimination.
Exactly. And it's just combed over like it's no big deal to these guys. And watching, a lot of people don't have time to watch these videos, but most of the work I do is just sitting on my ass, surveying something. So listening to this stuff is, I got one ear pod in and I'm, you know, doing my job, but it's nuts. The stuff that people don't have the time to pay attention to.
Yeah.
But when you point it out to them, they're like, nah, you're a liar. You're an idiot. And it's like, no, dude, I'm telling you the truth. Look it up.
Yeah.
They're never going to look it up.
Well, sure. Yeah, they can't be bothered to.
Trying to convince somebody that they're being lied to. I can't remember the actual quote, but it's impossible.
It's far harder to convince somebody that they've been lied to than it is to just lie to them.
Yeah.
It's funny how that works.
Yeah. I'm wondering how they're going to go about it, but I think if anybody can actually do it and follow through with it, it's going to be the Trump administration.
Yeah.
Hopefully, knock on wood, nothing happens in between this time and January 20th or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you see they're planning their own January 6th now? And I'm
really?
I'm like, oh, you guys are openly planning an insurrection? You know, you're openly trying to overthrow our democracy?
Well, I mean, this one might still be the second insurrection that didn't involve any weapons, except for law enforcement.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
We'll see.
They just blow it up and make it look so big, you know, and act like
they use like a close-up lens that just makes it look like so many people.
Yeah, acting as if the most well-armed political party in this country, would accidentally show up unarmed.
But imagine after that happens, Trump's like, my insurrection was so much bigger. So many people were at my insurrection. Their insurrection, not a lot of people. I heard it was pathetic. My people,
great.
but actually not my people, broke the windows. Their people, they couldn't even break the windows because they're just so weak. Like,
Did they even climb up the sides of the buildings?
But that would be a hilarious skit.
It would.
God.
So Elon Musk, world's richest man, thinking about his role in this past election cycle, again, my brain is pulled to history. I don't know that there has ever been somebody so important to the American experiment in self-government since Benjamin Franklin as Elon Musk. Elon Musk is our Benjamin Franklin, our Albert Einstein, and our Thomas Edison rolled into one. I remember
with a sprinkle of autism.
Yeah. And I remember as a kid,
in a good way.
People would say, I wonder who our Einstein is. There has to be someone out there, who's that brilliant. And we'll never know who they are because the internet will never become a thing, and then we'll never start talking to each other.
We'll know 50 years from now. Kind
yes.
Of thing.
And then this guy, distinguishes himself, and in buying Twitter and rebranding it ultimately, he created, a single place on the internet where conservative voices can speak unencumbered. And granted, they are still slightly encumbered, but it's much less than it used to be. And I think that had a major effect on this election. Not since Franklin's rogue printing press.
No, I didn't even. I wouldn't have thought about that. I heard about Benjamin Franklin's printing press, but
yeah,
I hadn't put those things together.
Well,
That's pretty good.
It's just
hearing him talk about the First Amendment, Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Hearing him talk about the First Amendment, even though wasn't born in America.
Yeah,
like the respect and like he genuinely cares about it, and
Certainly.
you can sense that in how he speaks about the First Amendment and compares it to other countries, and how in other countries you're silenced, you are jailed. Look at how many thousands of people in the UK have been arrested for Facebook posts.
Yeah. It's
Facebook posts.
Like, saying it out loud, it doesn't make it any more believable. It's just it's so unthinkable. And
Facebook posts.
Yeah, and they're considered like at parity with us.
They kicked out. Yeah, right. No. Yeah. Tea drinking sons of bitches. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Who'd they kick out?
They have kicked out criminals out of prison
Oh,
and released them to make space for people that made Facebook posts.
Yeah, for thought criminals.
It blows my mind how people think that that's okay. Well, it's hate speech. And it's like, okay, what's hate speech?
Right. Define that.
Please.
Speech that you don't like.
It drives me crazy because all I think about, if I watch stuff like that for too long, I start getting like stir crazy and like antsy and amped up because I'm just like, how can people allow this to happen and sit back and do it? How can the people that stand for law enforcement, law and order, you are a law enforcement officer and you're the long arm of the law? What are you doing? Yeah. How can you sit back? Oh, well, I'm just doing my job. Just like the Border Patrol people.
Yeah. Europe is so fucked in that regard, dude. Did you see that that stabbing in Germany that happened?
The Taylor Swift one? There was a Taylor Swift yoga set up.
Right. So that one was a bunch of children were like
murdered. 9-year-olds.
Yeah.
It was like 9 to 12.
That's insane. I think that was in the UK. The one in Germany, Arab asylum seeker, just walks up to a cop and stabs him in the neck. And
is it the one with the video of it?
Yes. And a German guy is going by and sees this dude, shank this cop. So he jumps in, and grabs the guy and tackles him to the ground. The police show up and start beating the shit out of the guy who was helping. And so this guy, this murderer, he goes, "Oh, nice," stabs the cop that's pulling.
You're on my team.
Yes, yeah, stabs the cop who's pulling the guy off of him. And it's just, if you ever needed like a visual example of the sheer
irony,
well, yes, yeah, of the chaos brought about by leftist policy, there it is. And in true 1984 fashion, we are meant to go, "Oh yeah, I know what I'm seeing," but that doesn't mean what what my eyes say it means.
I saw an example of that in America in a video where this guy and his family were at a park, and this black dude, like not that race has anything to do with it, starts attacking them and like hitting him or something, or yelling at them, threatening them that he was gonna shank them or whatever.
Wow.
And he calls the cops. Cops show up and they're like, what happened? And they tell him, and they arrest the guy. And the dad starts crying because he's like, do you have to arrest him? And they're like, did he threaten you that he was going to do such and such?
Wow.
And they're like, he's like, yeah, but I don't want him to think that I just did this because he's black.
Wow.
And it's like, how does that make sense in your head? One.
Yeah.
And like, his race should have nothing to do with this.
Yep.
He is an idiot who thinks it's okay to threaten people.
Yep.
Like, that should just be its own thing.
Right.
That people are not okay with. It shouldn't matter what his race is.
Yeah.
It should matter what decisions he made that led him to think that that's okay.
Right.
And it's people like that that make guys like that think it's okay
True.
to attack people.
True that.
So I think in the next 4 years, we're going to have a lot, especially with the reciprocity stuff. Yeah. We're going to have a lot more men that are no longer fearful of not repercussions, but basically being made an example of by the justice system.
Oh yeah,
because even no matter who is president, the justice system, once it gets its claws in you, like, dude, you're screwed.
That's why it's so rare when you have situations like Kyle Rittenhouse where we can all see what took place here, but we don't have faith in our legal system. We don't have faith in juries in this country because in urban areas they are corrupted. There are so many jurisdictions in this country that jury nullification would be the best case scenario in so many of these cases, and so for every Kyle Rittenhouse, who actually sees the light of day again, you have 10 Daniel Pennies. Who his trial is beginning right now.
Have you heard? Oh, okay, so it's beginning. It's not over.
Last I'd heard, it was just starting, just in this past week.
Do you know more about that story?
Yeah, this dude was stabbing people on a New York subway.
So before you continue, can you look it up and be 100% sure? Because I was told that he wasn't stabbing people. He was just threatening to do stuff to people and like pushing people and shoving.
I mean, this is potato.
Right.
The immediate pre-apprehension of bodily harm, that constitutes assault.
Right.
Whether or not you actually make contact with that person, you have committed a crime by saying, I'm going to stab you.
Right.
Like,
no. I agree. I'm taking your side on that.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that what we're saying is on point, because I know there was video of him holding him in a rear naked choke, and stuff like that, and I don't know how long, because the video cuts. I don't know how long he held the choke. I don't know if he released halfway through, put it back on, or like if the other guy was under the influence of anything that made it easier for him to pass having his oxygen, his airway taken, know. So like things like that, I want to make sure that everything that we're saying is on point, so that anybody looking at this isn't gonna dismiss what we're saying.
So I've got witness statement here. In a 911 call played in court, she told the 911 operator that the defendant, I guess not the defendant in this case, the attacker, Neely, was, quote, attacking everybody. Eyewitnesses at the scene and the people who called 911 that day did not identify Daniel Penny as the aggressor. They identified Neely.
Yeah, Penny and a couple other guys were the ones that were trying to subdue him and say, dude, like, you can't do this. Chill out.
Yeah.
And this guy, Neely or whatever, had done this exact same stuff.
Yeah, Jordan Neely. There are numerous videos of him doing exactly this on the New York subway system. That doesn't... That example or that reason is exactly why I'm 100% on Penny's side. Yeah. Like, when you do stupid stuff like that,
you win stupid prizes. You don't get to attack people, make them feel unsafe. You don't get to do all this stuff on a daily basis and everyone stand by and do nothing and let this guy just run amok. Yeah. And then finally he meets a vet that's like, hell no, dude. You're not doing this in front of me. I could 100% put myself in Penny's shoes. Would I hold a choke for too long? Who knows? What if he's under the influence? Yeah. And I put a choke on, and then I let it go 20 seconds later, but he still passes. Am I now a murderer?
Right.
You know what I mean? So like, it's that fine line. So I'm excited to see how this plays out, and I think the fact that Trump is president, there's a very high chance that he hears about this situation and does something about it if it doesn't go in his way.
Yeah, I hope
it's New York.
Yeah, I hope it doesn't have to come to that. You know, of course it is nice, you know, knowing that someone with a sympathetic eye and a sympathetic heart will be at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, but if it gets to that point, you know, that it requires executive intervention, that feels like a failure of the judicial system. To be able to accurately judge its own people. And what's funny to me is I saw a couple pictures of Daniel Penny, you know, when this happened, but in the intervening, I guess about year and a half since then, I don't know what he's taken, but homeboy is just becoming more and more Chad. Every image I see of him,
getting like jacked or something?
Oh yeah,
he's just preparing for prison.
His jaw is just like, oh my god, dude, like. You could slice steak with that.
Chad.
Right. And I'm like, has he always looked this way, or is he just getting like chatter, you know, as we get closer to the trial? I don't know.
Oh God, man. I mean, heart goes out to him. I mean, and for the Neely dude, like, it sucks for his friends and family. If he has any that are, you know, going through some stuff, like, heart goes out to you. It sucks when life is lost in general. It doesn't matter.
Certainly.
That being said, like, if I had a family member that was homeless, drug addict, attacking people, doing whatever he wants whenever, and, you know, I mean, there's bound to be people in his life that have been like, dude, if you keep doing this is what's going to happen. Like, you can't be surprised when it happens.
I want to believe that he has had people in his life that would tell him those things, but I don't know, you know, the culture of all of the people in his life. I don't know the values of the system of thought that he was raised in. So
what happens when you run into a immovable object like a veteran, especially a Marine? Like, I myself cannot see something like that go on and not do something about it, not say something about it at least.
Absolutely, man.
I'm very nosy, so like, if I see somebody that's being hurt or attacked or whatever, like, I can't sit by and let it happen. I have to.
It's the American way.
Put myself in between of whatever. Like, I can't have stuff like that happen in front of me and not do something about it, because I'll regret it. Yeah. For the rest of my life. Not the rest of my life, but for a while. Could I have done something? Could I have stopped that? Could I have, you know? Right. And my goal in life is to die saving somebody. Like, I've done so many shitty things in my life that I want to try and, like, equalize that weight system, you know, like, hopefully when I get up there, St. Peter's going to be like, I mean, you were a piece of shit, but you did save that kid from the bus. So get on in here, you little rascal. Tassels my hair and throws a halo on my head.
We weren't going to let you in here. Yeah. You just had to save that kid.
You were so close, you son of a bitch. No. I'm excited, man. And do you hear Putin already talking for peace talks?
Imagine that. You know,
isn't that so weird?
Hamas wants to end the war immediately. Iran, you know, saying like, we need to be judicious here.
I'm just hoping Israel doesn't, like, as they're going, we want the peace, Israel doesn't, like, kick them in the nuts. Like,
yeah, right.
I bet you do, bitch.
Now you do.
Yeah. What's my name?
Well, and then you have the Taliban saying they want to start a new chapter, and I'm like, sounds to me like someone's getting a little nervous in Kabul.
Did you hear what not Hamas, ISIS and whatever other group that's overseeing like
The
Afghanistan and Iraq.
Houthis.
Yeah, they have implemented new stuff, making it to where more stringent Sharia law, making it to where women aren't going to be allowed to speak to other women in front of.
Oh wow!
Yeah, dude, it's crazy.
Wow,
it's crazy, and nobody's gonna do anything. Nobody, and I'm not saying this as in like we should go over there, America. Let's sprinkle some freedom on them. You know, like these guys don't care about tariffs. They don't care about anything. They care about what's going on in their lives, in their village. You know, if you don't do this, we're going to do such and such.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. For me, the realization came in that moment when I realized that they do not want what we have.
No.
They know what we have. They know how we feel about it, and they do not want it. And when there is no desire, in either direction for that, there can be no cooperation. There can be no peace with that. Vice did a great documentary on them before they truly, went to complete shit, called "This Is What Winning Looks Like." And
was it in the 70s or 80s? Is that what you're talking? In the Middle East or?
No, it was in Afghanistan, like now.
Oh.
And I guess before 2021, when we were still there. And they show you, that even the good guys over there, the people that we install and hold up, even they are monstrous.
Pro Sharia law.
Well, there's a police chief, that we installed over there, and that police chief is used to having 2 new boys every day, 2 new T-boys, and it fell to the U.S. Army and to some officers for whom my heart truly breaks, that their job was to procure 2 new T-boys for this police chief every day and deliver them to him. And you can see it in their eyes. These men are dying in front of the camera because they know they are helping a pederast, and that's the good guy. That's our plan working over there. What the fuck? What happened? We are so far downstream from anything that began this war that we are now actively human trafficking children to a pedophile because that's who we've put in power. I use the term a lot, and maybe it's because so much in the world in which we live now is, but it is unconscionable. How would somebody sleep at night? And my heart truly breaks for those officers, who followed the orders that were given to them to maintain peace, in this nation that they were building.
Yeah.
It's an unwinnable circumstance. It took something that flagrant for me to go, oh, this was never winnable. They don't want what we have.
It's fun to hear arguments for what these guys are doing over in the Middle East.
Yeah.
It's fun to hear people try and make it make sense. It's like one of the other things that they did was lower the age limit for marriage. Yeah. Because Muhammad, his wife was 9 years old.
Yeah.
She was 7, and he didn't do anything with her until she was 9.
Yes.
He's a classy guy.
He was a gentleman, in that time.
No.
Yeah, it's just it's so disquieting,
Well, I mean, I've made this argument before. There's so many documentaries before Islam and all that became like a huge talking point.
Yeah,
there were so many documentaries in the UK, in the Middle East, that spoke about the amount of inbreeding within the Middle East.
That's a fact.
It's like 70% or more.
Yeah, consanguinity is what the medical establishment calls that.
Yeah, look it up. Look up the documentaries about this stuff.
Yeah,
it's nuts. They wouldn't have it these days because it would be Islamophobic or whatever. There'd be some reason or excuse.
Yeah,
it's nuts.
Yeah, I don't want to say it explains some things, but it makes some unthinkable things a little easier to get your head around.
not to keep beating a dead horse, but like it's nuts, the stuff that they're doing over there, and it's all because of the way we pulled out of there and the way. I mean,
yes.
Imagine if we were still there and then the presidents switch out and we've got Trump out there, things would change like that.
Yeah.
And it'd be hey, I mean, and again, I'm not like trying to incentivize America to go back to the Middle East in any way.
No.
But there's a lot of stuff there that wouldn't be going on if there was that fear of Trump in the background.
It's so true.
Yeah. The other thing was chemical transing children in America.
Yeah.
In one of his other speeches or like his little video things, he spoke about transing kids that are transitioning at under 18, and I mean they're the chemicals that we're pumping into these children that are literally sterilizing these children, and they're hormone blockers. It's just pausing their hormones.
Yeah, it's just
it's like that's not how any of this works.
Right.
There are studies. There was a study here recently that they kept from releasing it because the election was coming up.
Yes.
And it was going to make that entire area of information homophobic or whatever.
Sure. Transphobic.
Transphobic. Thank you. I've heard that word enough times. I should have remembered that. But
I'm jealous that it hasn't stuck in your mind.
Yeah, right. They kept it from coming out because the research that they had done showed that it was literally making it to where children are going to be sterile growing up.
Yep.
If you are pro-transitioning, pro-trans, whatever, you should be against transitioning children because when you give children hormone blockers, it stops the production of hormones, which means you need these hormones to keep growing, to go this part in your life. As a child, you are growing. Your genitalia is going to grow.
Right.
And if you take these hormone blockers at whatever age you're taking them, it's going to stop the production of those hormones and make it to where you are not going to grow.
Yep.
Your genitalia is not going to grow anymore. It's going to affect your ovaries. It's going to affect all those things for both genders. There are horrible side effects, and they've kept it in the dark until recently. And you know, when you transition as an adult, if you do the full transition, they literally cut stuff up, slice it up, and stuff it in there, and if your genitalia is not big enough or long enough, they have to take different parts of your body to make and right
small
now,
intestine.
Yes, now they're doing that, and people are having issues like, oh well, now it smells like shit down there, and it's like, yeah, you used part of your rectum or you know what I mean, like it's
use intestine for it. That's where the shit goes.
Like, what are we doing? We can't do this stuff to kids. And if you, let's say you are 100% all about wanting to transition when you're older or whatever, it's your body. Do what you want after you're an adult.
Yeah.
Because at least that way they can take what you already have and do something with it, even though you're not going to be.
Yeah. You will never become
woman.
the other.
You know what I mean? It sucks. I wish there was a pill you could take or a button you could press. Oh, I'm a girl now. Like I can make a baby. I can do this, that, and the other. But that will never happen in our lifetime. Well, I mean, knock on wood, but like, God knows how many science experiments they're gonna have to do to even make that happen. But God, man, we need to be careful. These are children, and I'm so glad when he came out with that video. I was happy in the sense that it's gonna protect kids so that they can go through puberty and have that time to figure out more about themselves, because half the stuff I said when I was a kid, I would tell myself I'm an idiot now. Like, think of the stuff kids are saying now, where you're like, dude, trust me, in 10 years, in 5 years, you're gonna change your mind. Trust me.
It's so pernicious. You know, it preys on the fact in children that every emotion that they feel is the biggest anything they've ever felt, and so
it's their first time feeling it.
Yeah, And so they prey upon that. They say, no, that big feeling that that tells you that something is wrong. It is. You should listen to that. And it's just it's saddening. It's troubling.
Like, now take all these chemicals.
Yes, shit is fucked when even Europe is saying, like, don't trans the kids anymore. And yet, we, with our proverbial fingers shoved in our ears, and
well, because you don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. You don't want to feel them, make them feel that they're unheard and stuff like. I can respect that. Tell me about your day. Tell me about everything that's going on with you. Talk to somebody.
Yeah.
We need more Jordan Petersons. We need more like actual therapists, psychiatrists that will sit down and be like, here's why you feel this way right now. Do this and this before you start thinking about doing that.
Yeah.
Clean your room. Work on yourself.
True that.
There's so many things that might be going on in your life that are making you feel this way.
Yeah. Jordan Peterson just is a fountain of amazing life advice. Even just like little throwaway things that he says change my life. He had a great recommendation. He said, if you're at a party or you suffer from social anxiety, you're in a large group of people and don't know what to do. He said, look at the situation from the perspective of, how can I use that which I have to help people here? And that just shifted my perspective, nearly 180 degrees. And it has changed my life for the better so much. It's helped me at school.
That's a good way to look at life.
I'm a little bit older, so I have a little more that I can help people with. And looking at it from that perspective, oh my God, what a gift, a true gift. That he just gives away for free to people.
No, yep. I love it. He's great, and I love hearing people talk about him or like mimic his voice.
Oh
and
yeah,
stuff. I love it.
Kermit the Frog-esque voice.
Dude, you need to clean your room, okay? I love it. I was just watching some TikTok video where it's him trying to convince your wife or hyping up your wife, and it's like, you need to take a load, maybe even a large load. You never know how big of a load you can take. And you're just like, but he's being completely genuine, like the dude.
Yeah,
he's amazing. I love watching his episodes.
When he goes on Joe Rogan.
Do you watch that Tucker Carlson, Alex Jones, and I can't remember the other guy? They just had an interview not too long ago.
I don't recall.
Oh, dude, it was pretty good.
Look that up.
He basically just goes down the list of all the conspiracies that he has said, and he's like, everything I'm saying is true. Nobody listen to me. And Tucker Carlson's like, he predicted 9/11 before 9/11 and told people to call the government and say, don't do this to the towers.
Wow.
And he's like, it's on video. How do you hear that and see it and think that this guy doesn't have his finger on the pulse of something of what's going on?
True that, man.
Like, it's what they've done to...
It's why I want him as press secretary, dog. He knows all their fucking evil secrets,
I will wear... Oh, man. I will put a sign of like back when you were in the military, like you'd have like president, the post commander or whatever.
Yes.
I want to do something like that, but it's got Trump, Alex Jones.
I want Alex Jones to sit for like an official White House portrait. Like how they take that like official photo of people that they put on the wall in every military base. I want one of those, and I want to see Alex Jones's face smiling at me from the other side of it.
Grin.
Dude. Because hot damn, if there isn't so much truly outrageous and wild shit in this world, and it feels like there's only one man who really knows it.
Oh, dude, and well, it sucks because I've said this a million times. He is a bag of cats. 100 cats. 95% of those cats have conspiracy theories that are 100% true. The other 5% are Sandy Hook.
Yeah.
They jumped on that and they ran with it. And
Sure did.
I mean, I don't. Do you know who Owen Schroyer is?
Oh yeah.
He's I mean, the stuff that he's been through, he had a really good debate with Destiny.
Oh, really?
Destiny, by the way, like, he makes good points sometimes, but I don't know how much Adderall and Red Bull he takes before he goes in a debate.
Yeah.
It is ear piercing.
Really?
How, like he's quicker than Ben Shapiro.
Oh, God.
At least Ben Shapiro, he's concise, but he takes his time. You know, he's nuts. But Owen Schroyer, like, kept that same energy.
Yeah?
Was like, this is your argument. These are the people you're gonna listen to. This guy.
Yeah.
You know, he half of what he's saying, he's just babbling it. You can't understand what he's saying because he's going a million miles an hour and he's just saying things with confidence that, you know, if you say stuff loud enough and fast enough with confidence, and it must be true.
Yeah. Repeat it enough.
He made some damn good arguments though against Destiny, and hearing what they've done to Owen Schroyer, they put him in prison for like 8 months or 8 weeks.
Yeah, for January 6th.
Yeah, even though he pulled a permit, you know, he was able to be there, and they said that he was inciting an insurrection or inciting a riot or something like that.
What a crock of shit.
Yeah, which only takes 3 people for it to be considered a riot.
Oh, really?
Well, man, and I'm botching this. It's been a minute since I took my post exam, but I want to say it takes 3 or more people to. Damn, I'm drawing a blank.
But riot is comprised of at least 3 people.
People putting together a riot.
Okay.
Or planning it.
Okay.
I'm botching it. I'll put it in the bottom.
Like conspiracy to
commit
riot?
Yes, something like that. It only takes a certain amount of people. And I don't know how they met it with him, with his situation, but I'm worried what they're going to try and do with Trump prior to January.
Yeah.
If I can't remember the guy's name that said he's going to try and implement the 14th Amendment and try and get some judges to go through with it. Because Trump's a felon and it was for insurrection and you know, all these other things that they're trying to.
So now they're trying to say that his felony is related to January 6th. That the 34 felonies are not related to a literal accounting error outside of the statute.
From his lawyer,
yes,
who's admitted to lying.
Outside of the statute of limitations.
Yeah.
But yes, let's bump those up to felonies, ascribe them to the man, and now they have their soundbite saying he's a convicted felon.
That's all they wanted.
Yes.
That's all they wanted right before the election, and people saw through it.
Yep.
They saw the BS. I love his Trump's lawyer.
Yeah.
Talking about what's her Letitia or whatever. I don't want to botch her name. What's her name?
Was it Rashida Tlaib?
Maybe out of Georgia.
Oh.
Letitia James?
Yes, Letitia James.
Oh, okay, so I was right with her name.
Yes.
He's basically like telling you guys better really think hard before you keep pushing this stuff.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna put your fat ass in jail. And it's like, oh my God, dude.
Speaking of putting fat asses in jail, Ruby Freeman, like, hang that Presidential Medal of Freedom right next to your orange jumpsuit. So this lady, she's the one who gave Biden Georgia in 2020. And I now know, looking back, she was the face of the steal of 2020. That's what that Presidential Medal of Freedom was for. So you want to talk about people who need to go to jail for election irregularities? Ruby Freeman, you.
Well, in a big argument a lot of people would make prior. I mean, it doesn't matter now because he's president-elect.
Yeah.
But the big argument people were making, especially in the debates like that Jubilee stuff I did, some of the stuff they cut out, people were making that argument that, you know, he's a felon, he's this, that, and the other. And the cases that they brought to court talking about election fraud and things like that, the big argument was people saying that it didn't matter because they threw out the case. And it's like, they threw it out on standing. They didn't look at anything.
Right.
How many votes would it have gotten if what you're saying is true? Well, like 2,000 or 10,000 or whatever, or however much it is.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that wouldn't even be enough to sway the election, so I'm going to throw it out.
Yeah.
You do that for every single place, every single case, and you throw out all the cases.
Yep.
Those numbers start adding up.
Yes, absolutely.
So it's like it shouldn't matter if it's for Trump, if it's for Harris or Biden, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
This is our election. This is something that genuinely matters.
Yes.
Moving forward, get past the Trump derangement stuff, get past not liking Biden or Harris or whatever. We need to secure our elections.
Yeah.
Hearing people trying to argue for not IDing for voting, they sound like morons.
Well, I love when they bring that up because it is very easy to expose them as the actual racists that they are. When you say, why don't you think minorities can do voter ID? You know,
have you seen Ami Horowitz's videos going to college campuses, asking them about voter ID, and then going to like the Bronx or like these majority African American people of color that they're saying don't know how to get a computer, don't know how to get Wi-Fi, don't know how to find the DMV, don't know how to find to get a license. Yeah. It's like, how do these people drive? How do these people go to buy alcohol or lottery tickets or whatever, cigarettes? Yeah. Like, do you think all these people are just hoping and praying that they'll let them buy this stuff where photo ID is enforced?
Right. Yeah,
but not for voter ID.
The thing that stuns me most in that is that people who hear that and then remain as leftists, like, what does that say about you as an individual that you would remain loyal to a side that thinks so little of you? You know,
it changed, obviously.
Yeah. It's true.
Popular vote and electoral vote.
Oh, I loved watching Reddit on election night. They turned on Latino males in such a huge way. Oh, they were so pissed. Like, all their latent racism just comes flying out the moment you vote off the plantation.
Dude, that Chappelle and Chris Rock SNL skit holds true today. Where they're like, how is this happening? And he's like, I don't know how you think this isn't happening. And he's like, where are all the black votes? Like, it makes no sense. And one of the white characters in that SNL skit, they're like talking about whatever state, and he's like, well, Harlem, we'll get them there. And then like 5 minutes later go by and they all vote Trump or whatever the numbers are. And he's like, oh, this is bullshit. Well, I mean, they're probably late to vote, or it's like, and they're just saying completely racist things.
Yeah.
God, I mean, we're gonna, I think the next couple of years are going to go one or two ways. Yeah. The one side's going to try and stir stuff up much that it's going to be the summer of love. It's going to be this, that, and the other. And I think since people have already seen this happen in 2020, 2019, that they're going to see through it and they're going to be like, this is BS. You cannot let this happen. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. I feel like they did. You know, I feel like last week's election was just a repudiation, whole cloth, of the social narrative as it exists now. You know, the week before the election, you have Jeff Bezos write an op-ed for the Washington Post saying, we're not writing for the public anymore. We're writing for ourselves. And I'm like, that's powerful. You know, that's a man who owns one of the biggest left voices still out there, you know, in print publication, admitting that they have lost the plot so severely that they have lost their audience. Yeah. And those kind of realizations weren't happening 4 years ago. No. And more people are starting to realize, like, oh shit, nobody actually believes this. Nobody is truly going along with this anymore. And that is so reinvigorating for my heart as an American, you know, to see, like, oh my God, the thing that I have feared, you know, is not actually true. There are enough people out there. And, you know, just talking to people out there in the world, it is so rare to come across an actual Kamala Harris voter. And even more rare to find somebody who could describe any one of her platform positions. Right. Though they do love bringing up her border security bill and throwing that one out as Trump is a bad faith actor because he wouldn't accept the bill that was called the Border Security Act. Yeah. You know, how could he be against that?
How many billions were going to go to Ukraine?
Yeah,
and Israel.
And 110,000 illegals a day, and amnesty for 35 million people. I'm sorry, that's not a border security bill. That's the end of America bill.
Yeah.
Right there.
No. It's going to get nuts, and I think it's going to get nuts in the sense that people are going to go crazy once he actually gets into office and these things start getting implemented. I think that's what's going to make such a big difference in how people are reacting. Because I think right now everybody's like, don't rock the boat. Let's all see how this plays out. Hopefully somebody does whatever, and now we don't have to worry about them. And it's like, what is wrong with you,
dude?
They need to put them in a box. A bulletproof box.
Pope Mobile.
Seriously.
Dude, like that's the realization that happened for me. We're a few months removed from it now, so it feels somewhat distant. But the world witnessed a miracle on July 13th, and you can see.
Turn it ahead.
Yep, from here to here is the difference between the Second American Civil War and America's Second Golden Age. You know, somebody actually did the math on it and figured out it was 1.776 inches that Trump turned his head. And I was like, well, isn't that interesting? Just
I'd really want to see the numbers on that.
Yeah.
Coincidence.
Right.
1776.
Yeah. Right. And so we witnessed a miracle in that. And all of there are moments that strike me where I feel like I see the alternate timeline of what the left wanted for this country. And it makes me get down on my knees and thank God for saving Donald Trump, because none of this should be happening. You know, it was this far, and it's a completely different America in that moment.
And go ahead. Sorry, I thought my bad, man. What I was gonna say was, it's not. I know we're like Donald Trump, like he's the best. You know, it's not Donald Trump, the personality that we're talking about.
Right.
It's Donald Trump, the person that's actually, you know, wants to see America. He comes off as genuine.
Yes.
Whether it's genuinely an asshole, doesn't matter. He's genuine. He comes off as this is his personality. And you really see that in the Joe Rogan podcast.
True that.
You see that in all the other interviews he's done where it's long form. He has to sit there and talk. And these people are asking him actual questions that Americans want answers to.
Yeah.
And you didn't get that with the other side. And when you did, it always came off as scripted, came off as the same stuff that you heard 20 years ago. You know, and I think that is the best part of Trump as a person, Trump living through these assassination attempts, is politicians can't play the same BS games that they used to play. Now it's going to be more, what do the people want? Because we're paying attention more now. And if we're not paying it, like you get podcasts like this, where you're hearing my actual opinion, you're hearing your actual opinion.
Hell yeah.
And we didn't really have that before because it could either be silenced or there wasn't access to it. You know, and I think just making sure that he stays alive is going to be the best way to assure moving forward after these next 4 years. We're going to have politicians that can't do that same BS. They have to give us actual answers. You can't say you're going to do one thing and then when you get in office, you don't, because shit's going to get real. And people will see that. And you won't be able to get reelected unless you have control over the election process, which is what they were trying to accomplish. It really is a blessing that he lived specifically for that. That was my main point, was that,
certainly,
you know, he has thrown a wrench into the gears of the political system. And now we're getting people like J.D. Vance, Tulsi Gabbard, Vivek Ramaswamy, RFK. You know, all these people want to make America better, want to make America great again, no matter what that means to each individual person. To me, it means more money in my pocket, more money for my family, being able to protect my family. You know, that reciprocity thing, man. I'm so, the concealed carry thing, I am so amped about that.
48 hours. Dude. 48 hours in, and we get, a major Second Amendment win in that way.
They just need to keep his ass protected. And
so I was listening to an interview between Colin Moriarty and David Jaffe today. They were talking about the significance of a second Trump presidency. They do a video game podcast. David Jaffe, creator of Twisted Metal for PlayStation way back in the day, and he's foaming at the mouth leftist. Pretty insufferable character, if I'm being honest. David. And
watch.
Yeah. And all that said, he still did produce a cogent point, I thought. He said he thinks Trump will be dead in a year, and he thinks it'll be a Republican who does it.
Really?
And initially, I just had like this righteous indignation, that flared at that. Yeah. And then the more that I thought about it, I was like, wait a minute, no, he's got the entire neocon establishment, against him. He has the successors of George H.W. Bush, with him in the crosshairs. And so in considering that, I was like, that is actually a legitimate concern. And so you're right. They need to find a way to protect this man.
I mean, if anything, just to make sure that people understand you can't do... You can't just try and assassinate the president, obviously.
Yeah.
Like, this is, whether you hate him, love him, whatever, like, unless he is rounding people up and deporting them. No, I'm just kidding. Unless he's, like, rounding people up and I know, right? Putting them in camps and execute, like, Auschwitz or something. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Game on, like, do whatever we got to do to stop this. But that's not what's happening. That's what they're trying to make it seem like is happening.
Absolutely.
They're twisting reality to make it fit whatever narrative that they're trying to push.
Yep.
He's Hitler. He's Mussolini. He's on election day, what's her face? That I can't remember her name. I think she works for MSNBC, the black chick.
Donna Brazile?
No.
Joy Reid?
Joy Reid, I think that's her.
Maybe she's on The View. I don't know.
Yeah, but she is like going in on this is why we think Trump is Hitler. This is why we think Trump is Mussolini. All these other things, and it's like you're wondering why people are hearing this stuff and trying to assassinate the president.
Yes.
Like yeah. Either way, we need to keep him safe just to keep consistency in America.
You want to talk about toning down rhetoric?
Yeah.
Oh my God. The mainstream media bears all responsibility.
I was at the protests in 2019 and 2020 as security for MSNBC, CNN, Fox News, all those big name agencies, and I'm watching that video of the guy standing in front of fire after a used car dealership was lit on fire in these cities and going, it's mostly peaceful protests. And it's like, what are we doing? We're listening to these guys that are saying that's mostly peaceful.
Yeah. This stuff will be held up 100 years from now as like, in the way that we look back, at the stuff that happened leading up to World War II. And if you read Rise and Fall of the Third Reich, I promise it will happen to you. Not since Game of Thrones have I had to set a book down and go for a walk because of what I just read, and in this case actually happened on it. But 100 years from now, the insanity that is on our televisions, it will be held up.
Do you think it'll get worse before then? Like, because I feel like we look back and we see the Civil War, we see World War I, II, Vietnam, whatever, and we're like, oh, we'll never do that again, or we'll never and such. And there's like a amount of space and time in between those events.
Yes.
Do you? I feel like right now we are so America is so ADHD that it's like it's back to back to back to back to back. Yeah. And I don't see there being any distance in between anything moving forward in the next 50 years. I think they're just going to keep hyping it up.
Yeah. Have you heard of, it's a book called The Fourth Turning?
No.
So it talks about almost exactly what you've described here, that there is a cycle that occurs in societies. And we see it. So our first turning was the greatest generation. They go out and fight and make, a better world. The second generation is the artist generation, who looks around at it and goes like, yeah, but is it really so good? The third generation is the group that says, this is bad. We got to tear all this down. And the fourth generation is the one who fights that fight and rebuilds something, beautiful and new. And we are poised for our fourth turning with our four, since the end of World War II.
No, that sounds a lot like hard times create strong men.
Oh, yes.
Strong men create easy times create weak men.
Yeah.
Weak men create hard times.
It's where it came from.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, yeah. That sounds about right.
Yeah. They so somebody read the fourth turning and they were like, we got to find a way to
consolidate.
This is a pithy concept. We got to make it as pithy as it deserves to be. And
how many people have you heard say that on podcasts or videos? No.
Well, the maybe the most troubling thing about it is that it is true. And we are currently experiencing it. But I was curious if you'd heard that.
No.
Or heard about that. My experience in going to school, I'm a film student in Colorado Springs, and returning to school with Gen Z, people who have always been like 8 to 12 years old in my mind. They're now in their early 20s. And I'll tell you what, Joe, it is so encouraging to see, because these kids have been raised in an entirely leftist world for all of their conscious life.
They're pushing back, dude.
Yes, those kids have a bullshit detector unlike anything I've ever seen, and it's so strong that it's turned conservatism into the new punk rock for them.
Yes,
because their parents are all affluent liberals, some of whom work at Ivy League universities and the like, and so this happening, it is actually almost like a hijacking of childhood rebellion. A child wants to rebel against their parents, and so how do you rebel if your parents are liberal? You become conservative. And dude, like if you'd asked me 20 years ago, I would have said this situation could never arise. Entropy only goes one way, and yet Gen Z has popped up and is proving my concern wrong every day. It makes me wonder about Gen Alpha.
What's the age range with Gen Alpha?
So Gen Alpha is 2012 to this year.
Oh, dude, my kids are all the kid, not my kids specifically, but like some of the kids I've heard conversating.
Yeah.
It's nuts some of the stuff they're saying because a lot of it is hard conservative or like, yeah, no, Trump's going to win. And I'm like, I'm a big proponent of not involving kids in politics.
Sure.
I'm not a fan of that at all. I want my kids to analyze whatever it is they're talking about and be able to articulate what they're saying. Not, I like Trump because Trump is conservative and I'm conservative.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want my kids thinking like that.
Yeah.
I want them to understand why they're saying what they're saying and be able to back it up logically. And some of the stuff these kids are saying is like, I feel like I'm watching a Andrew Tate video or like a Joe Rogan podcast.
Wow.
It's like, damn, dude, like, okay, relax. Why do you feel that way? And like,
why are you going hard in the paint at 8 years old?
For real. For real. But I mean, it, like you're saying, I agree. I think it's a big pendulum, like we were saying in that last video.
Yeah.
It's a huge pendulum, and I think it swung far left, and now it's going to swing far right, and we need to be really careful
certainly
with how we handle the next 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
Because I could definitely see it going down the wrong road, and people being able to validate things in their mind on why they're going to do this or why they're going to do that.
Yeah.
So we just need to be very careful, and we need to, like I said, we got to have people on the far left and people on the far right, so it helps balance us.
Yeah.
So that the people in the middle, the majority of people, because if you take a lot of Americans and a lot of us are on the same page. It's just being able to put it in the right words so that people can be like, you know what? I agree with that, or I can see where that guy's coming from,
Yes.
or girl's coming from. So as long as we step wisely and just common sense.
Yeah.
I think if we all come at it with
keeps coming
common
up.
sense, we're losing common sense a lot of the times, but we'll get there.
I mean, even the left journalistic world has had to concede that conservatism has become the party of common sense, because we're the party that says no, boys can't be girls.
Yeah.
No, boys don't go in the girls' locker room.
Or in sports.
Yeah. No, if you commit a crime, you should go to jail. And the left has lost touch with those pretty basic, like these are the rules of a society type things that they've now lost the American electorate.
I think they tried pushing or they had a bill or something in California pertaining to jail time and crimes and stuff like that.
We had one here.
And yeah, we had a couple things that they were trying to taxing ammunition.
Yeah.
What are we doing, guys?
Did that pass?
I don't know. I don't know if it's come out yet.
I got to check that.
Yeah. Dude, it's nuts the stuff they try and slip in there, and then you read it on face and you're like, well, yeah, no, we should definitely be able to put money aside to help people that have gone through whatever, but don't tax ammunition or firearms.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think they're taxing firearms. It's just ammunition. But like, so what are we trying to do now? Are we trying to make it to where only people that can afford being taxed for ammunition can buy ammunition?
Yeah.
Because, if I was poor, if I went bankrupt or whatever, I want to be able to still protect myself.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be something only for certain classes of Americans.
At a certain level, a tax is a ban. And you can see that just as simply as like NFA tax stamps. For a lot of people, can't pay that. So you don't get to have a piece of metal.
Yeah, I want a suppressor on all my guns.
Right. Well, do you know in Europe they're mandated in a great many places? Yes. Yeah, they say no, you cannot hurt the ears
But what about
the
the
deer.
ears?
Yeah.
You don't want the other deers to hear you.
Yeah. And so like when I hear about that, I'm like, oh my God. Why can't whatever's in their water be in our water?
Oh, God.
So people would go like, no, suppressors. Actually, you should be required to use them.
No, all I can think about is water. It's atrazine in the water. It's turning the frickin' frogs gay.
Yep. Yeah.
And then you got RFK in his videos talking about atrazine and chemicals in the water, and like the memes now are like it shows RFK talking about it, and then it pans to the right, and it's Alex Jones going. So,
what I love most from 2016 to even now is that the conservative world, number one, in 2016, we didn't know how to use the internet. Like our celebrities were on television, and I finally got my parents to understand this too. That the locus of social discourse shifted from television to the internet in 2020. Now, when things happen, they happen first on the internet.
oh yeah.
It used to be, in the way that my parents came up, it always happened on television. And when I told them that one line, I got to look up who that came from, but he said, the revolution will not be televised. And that didn't sink in for my parents until 2020, when they realized that things were happening online that the news never talked about.
Oh yeah.
And further, that the news would consciously not talk about something to kill a story and thus propagate their own message.
Well, the government is paying these platforms. The only way that people, normal Americans, can get their voices heard and out there, all it takes is, I've got you on video. I've got this thing that just happened in front of me that I videotaped.
Yeah.
How can I get this out to the masses?
Yes.
And it's harder to control that
Yeah.
with things like X that have no problem with free speech.
Yeah.
And, you know what I mean? Like, I completely agree, dude. It's definitely it's making that change, and I agree. The revolution will not be televised. It'll be on X.
Yeah.
It'll be on Facebook, or
Yeah.
if Facebook allows it. I know Trump is trying. One of the things he's trying to do is make it to where government entities cannot. Basically, he's going to do an investigation and create a what did he call it? a group that's going to investigate this.
Like the Department of Governmental Efficiency?
Something like that. Well, no, that was something different, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
They oh yeah, no, that's what Elon's doing?
Yes.
I thought you were talking about the misinformation one that they tried pushing and people shut that down.
Yeah,
like
thank
that.
God for that. Yeah, that created a literal ministry of truth. Which
Yes.
is like,
yeah.
how?
Why we are floating more and more into an Orwellian
Yes.
future. What are we doing?
Like it's so flagrant now that it almost feels played out. You know, it almost feels like, oh my God, another reference to 1984. Yeah, because we keep fucking doing it. Like, you want me to
Pay
stop
attention, people.
Yes, you want me to stop bringing it up. Stop making the book our world.
Yeah. No. I think we're on a fun road coming soon. We're definitely going to have stuff to talk about. And as far as the security world, dude, I just had a buddy of mine on that he's big into the security world now too. And I'm telling him, like, dude, I think protests are going to start kicking up closer we get to January.
Yeah.
I think work's going to kick up and it's going to get crazy.
Yeah, keep your eyes out for those random pallets of bricks that just show up for no construction process whatsoever.
We were down there at the protests, at the Breonna Taylor protests, at the George Floyd protests.
Oh, my God.
And my buddy took pictures of the pallet of bricks or rocks
Somehow.
that were just getting dropped off. Oh, well, they're building something. So...
They probably think they are.
I think, yeah, right. We're building a new America. But we'll fingers crossed everything, goes the way that America needs it to go for us to stay safe.
Hell yeah.
Keep money in our pockets and protect our families.
True that, man.
And I think that's going to be what happens coming up. Fingers crossed, knock on wood. Hopefully that happens, man. I genuinely appreciate you coming on here, man. Of course. I love our conversations, and I plan on doing more of this.
Hell yeah.
Pretty much every time you come up here, I'm going to try and get you
Fuck yeah.
to hop on here. So.
Joe, thank you so much for having me on today, man. And thank you for creating a platform, where conservative voices can be heard, because they are too few in this world.
Dude, I want all voices to be heard. I want people to give me your opinions, man. Especially if you're a veteran. That's like my main goal. Veterans, I want to hear everybody's opinion. I want to hear about everybody's time in the military, outside of the military, benefits that they've been able to find, something new, whatever we can do to help vets.
Yeah.
That's the goal. I want to do, you remember that Mr. Veteran skit that Marshall was putting together?
Yeah.
I want to do something like that.
Okay.
But where it's me as Mr. Veteran panning in a sweater vest, talking to veterans about going to a CMP exam and what to look for, what to do, and like kind of like a knowledge-based thing for vets.
Okay.
So like these next couple years are going to be fun, and I'm genuinely excited on what we can accomplish. I think it's just going to take us coming together and getting it done.
True that, man.
I don't see that being a problem. So
I would love to learn how to use the CMP because I've been wanting an M1 for a hot minute.
Dude, the CMP exams with the VA are the most strenuent, pain in the ass things that vets have to hop through.
Good to know.
Just to get a rating.
Wow.
So I want to make it as easy of a process as possible, especially for people that are, hesitant to go in the first place.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, I know you've talked about that is a personal passion for you.
Oh, 100%.
Getting veterans to realize that, like, yeah, you don't need this right now, but
20 years,
yes, you're gonna want it. And there are so many people out there that do not utilize the benefits to which they have not only earned, they're frankly entitled to it. They have earned it with their body.
Well, and you have volunteered for service, no matter if you're National Guard, Reserves, active duty, doesn't matter. You have sacrificed time in your life for your country.
Yeah.
Your country owes you that debt.
True that.
We are such a small percentage of Americans, like, screw these other countries that we're sending billions of dollars to. Like, hey, do you. We need... There should never be a homeless vet.
Yeah.
There should not be a vet that can't get a hold of somebody for mental health stuff.
True that, man.
We need to take care of our own before anything else. And I think there's more and more people like us that are getting into the VA atmosphere, getting into politics that pertain specifically to the VA, and making sure that money's not just being wasted on CEOs that are getting $400,000 or $200,000 a year salary.
Yeah,
you don't need that if there's still. Oh no,
we hit the 2-hour mark.
We hit the 2-hour mark. All right.
I guess
we gotta. Perfect. Then we still got two cameras. We'll use that. Thank you for coming out, dude. Thank you. I genuinely appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Joe. See you next time.
See you next time, man.